day 4. Is this day 4? Day 4 of semester review. Okay, we've gotten to the quadratic equations of just graphing these. Okay, graphing quadratic equations, there was this process that we did. What was the first thing we need to know? Starts with the V.
Vertex.
Vertex. How do we find the vertex?
X equals negative B over 2A.
Negative B over 2A. What is my negative B? For 74.
12x.
Yep, but we just want the number, so just 12. And then A is 2. So we have 12 divided by 4, which is 3. So we have the X value. What else do we need?
Y.
Now we need the Y. How do we find the Y?
Plug your X in.
Yep, plug it in. So 3 squared, 9 times 2, 18, 12 times 3, 36, and then we have plus 19. Add those all together, what do you get for your Y value? So 18 minus 36 plus 19, I got 1. So what did that just give us? Yeah, that's the vertex that we just found. We have 3, 1. So go plot that on your graph. 3, 1. And then how do we get all the other points? Step pattern. What is the step pattern? 1, 3, 5, 7. Are we going to use 1, 3, 5, 7? No. Why do we have to change it? Yep, leading coefficient. So we have to multiply all these by 2. So our new step pattern is 2, 6, 10, and 14. Is our parabola going to go up or down? Up. Yep. So over 1, up 2 on both sides, and then over 1, up 6 on both sides. It is a parabola. What's one big difference on number 75? Right, it has that negative leading coefficient, so what's going to happen to the overall picture? It's going to end up going down. Okay, but you're going to follow that same process on 75. Okay, move on down to 76 and 77. Do you solve these ones any differently? Okay, do these change at all, process-wise, on how to do these compared to 74? No. Okay, you find your vertex, X and Y, and then you do your step pattern. Okay, let's look at 78. What do you notice about 78? It only has the A term, right? So if I use negative B over 2A, do I have a negative B? No, so it's 0 divided by negative 4. Well, what's 0 divided by anything? 0. And then if I plug 0 in for Y, what am I going to end up getting? 0. So where's your vertex at? 0, 0 at the origin? Yep. So I'm at the origin. How do I find the rest of them? Same way, right? You still use that step pattern, 1, 3, 5, 7. Is it going to change? By how much? Negative 2. So we have negative 2, negative 6, negative 10, and negative 14. So is our picture going to go up or down? Yep. Good. Okay. So what's your vertex going to be on number 79? 0. Yep. Good. Okay, I want to look at 81, 80 and 81. Okay. I'm going to look at 81. What does this look like? It's not in the normal form that we're used to, but you should like these because why? It just gives it to you, right? Because this is in vertex form. So remember our vertex form, it's that y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Oh. It's in that vertex form. So our vertex this time, what letters stand for our vertex? H and K. What do I have to remember to do? Flip the H. Yep. So in here it says -4. So out here I want 4. And then my K value is 2. So my vertex this time is 4, 2. And then how do I find the rest? Still use the step pattern. What is the original step pattern? 1, 3, 5, 7. Is it going to change by how much? Yep, that coefficient in front. So again, we have 2, 6, 10, and 14. Okay. Questions on the vertex form? All right, moving on, completing the square. What does it mean to complete the square? Like, what are we trying to do?
Oh, you need to add the 45.
Right, we want to get a number here that gives us the same factors. Okay, so right now, is there a factors of 45 that add up to 4 that are the same number? No. So we want to make a new C value. So to do that, we need to add 45 to both sides. We want to get rid of that C value so we can make room for a new one. So when I rewrite, what do I have to make sure to do when I rewrite? Leave spaces. Yep. So I leave a space for my new C. What I do to one side, I have to do the other. So I'm going to leave a space on the other side also. Okay. How do we find that new C value now? Divide what by 2? Yep, divide the B by 2. So I'm taking 4 divided by 2, which is 2. Right, now I take this to the second power, which is 4. So what do I do with this 4? Yep, put it in the 2 blank spots. Okay, what do I do from here? Yeah, now we just factor, right? So what is the trick I can do to write this part on the left side? You can think what are the factors, but what is it every time? It's that number that you got, right, from the B. So it's x plus 2 squared equals, what does it equal on the other side? 49. Yep. Now, if you don't remember this little trick, okay, remember it's just factoring to get this part. Just factoring. So let's walk through that real quick if you got lost. What are factors of 4 that add up to 4? And remember, you want the same factor, which would be 2 and 2. So you would normally write that x plus 2, but that can be simplified to x plus 2 squared. Yeah? Okay. So, looking at this right here, how can I solve that farther? Take the square root of both sides. What happens on the left side after I take the square root? It's just x plus 2. What do I get on the right side? Yeah, why do I need the plus or minus? Yep, because quadratic equations, we always want 2 solutions. And then what's my last step once I get here? Yep, so we have x plus 2 equals positive 7, and we have x plus 2 equals negative 7. And then you just solve them both separately by subtracting 2. So we get x equals 5 over here, and then we get x equals negative 9 over here. Questions on completing the square? One where it looks a little bit different. Let's look at number 84. What's wrong with 84 right now?
Not simplified.
What do you mean not simplified?
It has a C.
You can divide it all by 6.
It has a C, right? Because we remember when completing the square, we don't want an A value. Okay, we want to get rid of that first. So how do I get rid of that A value? Divide everything by 6. Now, even though the right side is 0, okay, we're still dividing everything by 6. Okay, so we're even dividing that 0 by 6. Because with completing the square, we don't want a leading coefficient. So if I divide everything by 6, I'm left with k squared plus 2k minus 8 equals 0. Okay. Now, again, the directions are going to tell you they want you to complete the square. Okay, so if it says we want to complete the square, what do I need to do? Yep, get rid of C so we can get a new C. So I'm going to add 8 on both sides. So we have k squared plus 2k. What do I need to remember to do? Leave spaces. Equals 8. Leave space. Okay. Now we want to find our new C. How do I find the new C? 2 divided by 2, which is 1. What do I do with that? Squared, which is 1. So 1 goes into both of our blank spots. Now I factor. What am I going to write on the left side for my factor? Yep, k plus 1 squared. Remember, it's going to be that number. K plus 1 squared equals 9. Now I want to solve. What do I do from here? Square root both sides. What is left on the left side? K plus 1 equals positive negative 3. Yep, whenever you take the square root of a number, it's always going to be positive or negative. And then last thing. Yep, so we have k plus 1 equals 3. And k plus 1 equals negative 3. Question, this part, is it ever going to change? What's the only part that's changing when you write it as their own? What it equals to. Yep. So solve both of these by subtracting 1. So we get k equals 2. And k equals negative 4. Now we're getting to our favorite formula ever. Quadratic formula. Okay, so remember the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I would definitely put that on your note card. Okay, when you get to 86, the directions say they want the discriminant. What is the discriminant? It comes from that formula. What part is the discriminant? Yep, what's inside the square root. So the discriminant is that b squared minus 4ac. That is the discriminant. Okay. So on 86 and 87, it just wants you to find the value of the discriminant. So all you're doing is just plugging values into this equation right here. So what is my b? 6 squared minus 4. What's my a? 1. What's c? Negative 4. Yep. The hardest part, the trickiest part with this is knowing if it's going to be subtract or add in between. Okay, so watching out for your negatives. So if I simplify this, I have 36. Am I going to have a positive or a negative? It's going to be positive because I have 2 negatives right here. So it's going to be plus 4 times 1 times negative 4 is 16. So then you just need to add those together. 36 plus 16. 52. Yep. And on those, that's all it wants you to do. Okay, on 87, however, can I do it quite yet? Why not? Yep, whenever you're working with quadratic equations, you always want it to be equal to 0. Okay, always, always, always want it to be equal to 0.
Do more note cards.
You need a new one? So I know it doesn't say in the directions specifically on 86 and 87, but when you get to 88 and 89, it asks for how many solutions it's going to have. Okay, so remember there's 3 different possibilities. There's a no solution, there's 1 solution, and there's 2 solutions. Okay? Do we remember which is which?
The one solution is 0.
1 solution is when we have 0.
Two solutions, 2 positive.
Yep. 2 solutions. That's when we have a positive number. Any positive number.
The no solution.
Yep. And then a no solution is when we have a negative number. Okay, why is a negative number going to be a no solution? Think of where the discriminant is. Where's the discriminant in that formula? Right, you're going to end up square rooting it, but can you take the square root of a negative number? No, so that's why you have a no solution. Okay, for a 2 solutions, why is it a positive number? What happens when you take the square root of a positive number? You have a positive and a negative solution. Remember that plus or minus? And then square root of 0, there's only one option for that, so that's why it's 1 solution. Okay, so let's look at 89, for example. The discriminant, remember, it's that b squared minus 4ac. So let's plug that in. What is my b? 6 squared minus 4, what's a? 1. What should I have done first? Yep. Get it equal to 0 first. That's my bad. What should I do to do that? Add 7 to both sides. So x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 0. Now can I find the discriminant? Yes. So my b is still 6 minus 4. A is 1. What's c? 9. Yep. So we get 36. Am I going to have a positive or negative right now? Negative. Minus 36. 36 minus 36 is 0. How many solutions is it if we have 0 as an answer? 1 solution. Okay, so sometimes it's going to ask just for the discriminant. Sometimes it's going to ask for the discriminant and how many solutions there's going to be. Okay, so remember those 3 different options. Which one do you want to do? 92? Okay. In order to work with a quadratic formula, what do we have to do first? Equal to 0. How do I get it equal to 0? Subtract 3 on both sides. So I have 4n squared minus 4n minus 48 equals 0. Again, you have the quadratic formula written down, so we're going to follow it. So x equals negative b. What's my negative b? 4 plus or minus the square root of b squared. So we have negative 4 squared minus 4. A is 4. C is negative 48. Divided by 2 times 4. Yep. What do you want to simplify first? Yep, you want to do everything inside the radical first. So we have 4 plus or minus, that turns to 16. Is it going to be a minus or a plus? It's going to be plus. 4 times 4 times 48. We get 768 divided by 2 times 4, 8. Keep going inside the radical, so we want to add those together. So we get 4 plus or minus the square root of 784 divided by 8. Are we okay up until this point? Okay. Now, what do we want to do when we get to here? Solve the square root. Yep, so type square root of 784 in your calculator. Did it come out evenly? Yes. What is it? Should get 28. If it didn't come out even, how many decimals do you use? 3. Okay. But this one came out even. Are we done when we get to this point? No. How many solutions are we supposed to have with quadratic equations? 2. That's why we have that plus or minus in there. So how do I set it up? Treat them as their own. Yep. So I have 4 plus 28 divided by 8. And then I have 4 minus 28 divided by 8. So up here I get 32 divided by 8, which is 4. Yep. And then here I get negative 24 divided by 8, negative 3. And then there's your 2 solutions. Okay. When is the quadratic formula super nice? Like, what do you look for? Right. If you get a negative number inside of here, do you have to keep going? No. What do you automatically put? No solution. Yep. Okay. Any questions with those? Remember, before you can use the quadratic formula, what do you have to have it equal to? 0. Yep. Good. And then if you ever have decimals, use 3 decimals. Okay. Questions before I turn the recording off?